the strategy was, what is that we are going to be the best at? What are the capabilities that we have in here right now, not future thinking? Who is in the room in this office right now, and what do they know how to do? And that is going to be what we offer the market. And we are going to have to say no, because if it's something we do not know how to do, then we can't do it.
Welcome to the fourth Noticias Newswire and Hispanic PR blog marketing webinar. I'm Bill Gato. I'm the CEO of Noticias Newswire and the co-publisher, co-editor of the Hispanic PR blog. Noticias Newswire is the only Latino-owned and operated press release distribution service targeting the U.S. Hispanic and Puerto Rico markets. The Hispanic PR blog is a trade journal and platform and resource for Hispanic and multicultural communications professionals. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Carla Santiago, founder and COO of MEL, M-E-L. MEL is a brand new minority-owned and Hispanic-led full-service communications agency. The name MEL, M-E-L, is an acronym based on the last names of three of the founders, Miguel Messianu, Richard Edelman, and Pedro Lerma. All four founders are pioneers in the Hispanic marketing and PR spaces. And up until the launch of MEL, Carla was the general manager of Edelman PR's Miami office. So Carla, welcome, and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, Bill. So happy to be here.
Carla, to use a 70s and 80s sort of musical analogy, there's a supergroup aspect to MEL, because all four of you were already sort of rock stars in the PR and marketing spaces before launching MEL, right? So coming out of the gate, there's already like a built-in trust, infrastructure and branding already, coming out of the gate. So that's priceless. So, but I wanted to get your perspective. I'd love to interview all four of you separately, or as a group. But I wanted to start with you because of the four of you, I think you're Latina and a PR pro. So the one of the four of you that I felt was most relevant for now for the Hispanic PR blog was you. And so I really want to start with you. So can you tell us the story of MEL's creation, how you got involved in the launch of this new agency?
Of course, of course. And thank you so much for this time, Bill. And yes, all of our founders would be absolutely delighted to speak to you in the future. As you mentioned, I am a long time name in the Hispanic PR world, and I've had an incredible trajectory that I'm just extremely proud of and blessed with all the opportunities. MEL started truly as a dream. I've been part of Edelman for many, many years. I was first at Edelman's New York office, always working on U.S. multicultural campaigns and U.S. multicultural brands. And then I rejoined Edelman here in Miami to lead the office and had the pleasure of truly growing the Hispanic business.
That was in 2020, I believe.
But
in 2020, right?
Yes. I rejoined in 2018, Edelman in the Miami office, and then I became the general manager in 2020, which of course was quite an interesting journey because I was a newly appointed GM and I had to take this office through the whole pandemic, which we successfully did. And it is one of the reasons that I'm here and that Richard has bestowed me this opportunity as founder and COO of MEL. But Richard has always had a vision for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and he truly understands the power of the Hispanic market. He knows the data really well. He understands the growth that is going to come explosively out of this market in the next few years. And it started. I like to call it as a dream. It started as a smart business, of course, and proper conversations and putting data backed presentations together about why we needed to truly form something that was much more dedicated and in depth, that we could truly go to clients and be, if you need Hispanic expertise, we got it in depth. 100% focused, 100% dedicated. And conversations started initially with Pedro Lerma, who, of course, is the founder and COO of the Lerma agency in Dallas. The conversation started in New York, and I got brought into the project in January of this year, and I was asked if I wanted to do this, and I of course said yes. And along the rest of the year, we've been just building the blocks of putting together a brand new agency. Luis Miguel Messianu was the most incredible addition to the team, and really what catapulted Mel to become what it is today. Luis Miguel, Richard, and Pedro met in Cannes in June, and just it was such an organic birth of this trifecta. It is truly a perfect trifecta. And after that, Luis Miguel was on board, and I hope that you get to speak with Luis Miguel in the future so that you get his side of the story. And I've been just joining the three of them in this journey.
I got to chat with him for about 5 minutes up in at the Bravo Awards in Chicago last month, and I said,
Good,
Luis Miguel,
good.
I want to interview you. So that's it's in the works, So, but thank you, Carla.
You
Okay, so that's
go ahead.
interesting that as far back as January, you guys were sort of planning. It was Pedro, Richard, and you were planning already. What was the missing? What was that ingredient that Luis Miguel brought that just made it just complete? You know.
Yeah, of course, Edelman is Edelman. We are the world's largest independent communications advisory firm, and we specialize in trust. So we bring that. Lerma has been having an incredible trajectory, and they are truly a fully independent advertising agency rooted in multicultural and digital expertise. So such, an innovative, forward thinking team at Lerma. And then Luis Miguel comes in. If you are in Hispanic marketing, it is impossible that you have not heard of Luis Miguel Messianu. Of course, he founded one of the most awarded agencies in our market. And he's a creative and visionary leader, and he has truly dedicated his career to advance Hispanic-led creativity and to elevate the importance of multicultural marketing around the world. So I think we all bring our unique strengths, which is why we are so proud of what Mel is becoming, because I feel we can truly say we are a full service integrated communications agency. We can do earned, we can do media, we can do creative, we can do digital. We can offer clients a one stop shop, and everything tailored through our Latino lens. And we're very proud of that, of the combined strength of the three of us.
Carla, okay, thank you. And I wanted to ask you about that in the press releases that you were sending out initially about the launch. You mentioned, I noticed, and also on your website, there's a lot of mention of, earned centric media, earned centric approach, earned centric. Tell me more about that in terms of the overall vision of the agency.
Yes. Earned centric is a very important part of what Mel's DNA is, because truly the worlds of advertising and earned as separate are blending in together, probably because of the power of social media, and everybody is truly now an influence in of a brand's capacity to connect with consumers. So even if you're doing something that before would be so separate as paid advertising campaigns, truly for a campaign to take flight and for a campaign to be its full potential of success, that campaign needs to have an element that it is going to earn attention, and it is going to earn people's trust, and it is going to earn an action of people. So when we say earned centric, we're not talking about earned media. We're talking about truly putting our creativity and our creative ideas to not be about selling, but to be about solving and about earning a place in people's hearts and minds. And that is why saying earned centric, even if we are going to do paid advertising, is now the male DNA.
Okay, Carla, let me ask you about more about that. So, would you say that what's happening overall is that in order to serve the brands, as best as possible, the platforms, the social media platforms have evolved and the users have evolved to the point where it's not enough just to post a selfie and a self-made video. Like the standards are getting more sophisticated. So, people like Luis Miguel and Pedro, they bring this whole wealth of high level production aspects for
Correct.
video for platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. And is that what's happening? There's so like the PR side is looking at the advertising side, like, hey, we need some of your DNA. Advertising sides looking at PR and saying, you guys are sort of we're spearheading social, but we need some of what you've got. Tell me more about that marriage and how it's coming together
That is
overall,
exactly
not just
that.
with Mel, but probably overall.
Overall, that is exactly the convergence that is happening. And the convergence is not happening because we are driving it. The convergence is happening because consumers are expecting this from brands, and consumers are expecting this from the work that we do as creative. So the convergence is here, and we have to understand that the ecosystem is now completely changed, and the ecosystem has changed in the consumers that we're serving, and that new Latino experience. It is no longer, the Latino experience where the majority of us were immigrants from X, Y, and Z. The new Latino experience is you are truly whatever you are slash American, and you are truly living the 200% life. And that is an important part of the convergence, because they are expecting more even from production, and they are expecting more of ideas, and they are expecting more of brands. And that's why the convergence is happening.
Would you say, Carla, that any PR, strictly PR firm or traditional PR firm that doesn't make moves like what you guys are doing, and any ad agency that doesn't make moves the way you guys are doing, are in trouble moving forward? Or is there still room for the traditional approach that doesn't, pivot?
Th- there is room for everybody. I like to say there is room for everybody. We are such a force that the pie is big. There's so much work out there to be done. And brands are all in a different journey. And part of what is going to drive agencies into the convergence is also what type of brands are their clients, because clients are in a different path of the journey when it comes to multicultural marketing. You have obviously the best in class brands that I don't want to get into mentioning brands here, but you have those that are the known best in class, driving the market when it comes to multicultural marketing and Hispanic marketing. And you'll still going to have, for at least the next 10 years, those brands that are taking it at a little bit slower. And that is fine too, because that is fine too. We can't all just be moving at the same pace. At Mel, we are proudly saying and staking the ground of saying we are the intersection of earned and advertising. And we are going to move forward with that thinking of making sure whatever we do, through whatever channel of communication that campaign or message is going to be delivered, is going to have in its DNA high creative, high earned, and high purpose. So that is what we're saying. I'm not going to comment on if people stay behind or not or whatever. There is room for everybody because there's
Okay.
enough for everybody.
I have so many questions, and I'm going to try to keep it short. But um, I was reading about Lerma today. The Super Bowl this year, he had three. His agency had three ads on the
Mm.
Super Bowl.
Yes.
I mean, you were transforming the Miami office to focus on U.S. Hispanic away from Latin America. I wanted to ask you about that. It's like, all of you are at the top of your games. Arguably at the top of your game. So this was like the news of the year, the launch of this agency.
Oh,
So it's
me
really
too.
exciting. Are you feeling the pressure of that? like, of, you've got to go out there now and like, make it happen. Fast. Or I mean, you feeling that kind of pressure? Just curious as a PR professional.
I mean, it is excitement. I when you work in the agency life for 20 years as I have, the word pressure is just is just synonymous with my everyday life.
It comes with the
And
territory.
and as you said, I actually did lead the Miami office for Edelman to move out of the Latin American region into the U.S., and that in itself was a whole adventure. So. Pressure, we're always under pressure. We are, we're a for-profit company, so we have to get it right. But the good thing is that right now it is all excitement. What we feel is excitement. We
Right.
launched Mel on September 20th. So, what are we in? We're probably 6, 7 weeks in. And the amount of response that we've received in 6 weeks of operation is so exciting that we know we're on the right path. We know people want to know what we do and what we can do because we've been getting calls left and right. We've already responded to some incredible RFPs in this short amount of time. So the word is excitement. It's a big endeavor. We are an agency that just came into the market, but backed by three superpowers, and excitement is what I can say.
Or four. so, um, Carl, I want to shift to your journey, your career, a little bit more. About a year ago, you started transforming the Miami office of Edelman PR. Apparently, it had a focus more on Latin America, and then you saw you were the one leading it toward U.S. Hispanic. Tell me about that shift, that pivot.
Yes, sure. So the Edelman Miami office was founded about 25 years ago, and it was founded as an office in Miami to service all the companies that had headquartered their Latin American operations in Miami. There were quite a few about 20 years ago in here. Many have moved now down back to Mexico or Brazil or Panama or etc. But that was the initial mission, the initial objective of opening Edelman Miami. So we joined the Latin American network for Edelman, which has offices in Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, and Argentina. What started happening was that I came in here as a GM, and my expertise is in the US Hispanic market. And I came into an office of highly productive and highly efficient team. And truly, we are US Hispanics, and we are a talent that can be utilized both in Latin America, and we can also be utilized for general market work in the United States. If you are bilingual, you are bilingual. So, I started making my rounds and started building my relationships inside the Edelman US network because, of course, I live in Miami, Florida, United States of America, and we started seeing the opportunity, and we started seeing the opportunity on the US side of Edelman for our kind of talent. And we also started seeing increased interest from US clients into US Hispanic services. So that started slowly with us being able to get, staffed on general market work and for us to do our thing. It started uh, it just really started as a deployment of Hispanic talent into the Edelman US network. And that led to a flip of our client portfolio. When I first showed up, the client portfolio was probably 60% Latam, 40% Hispanic, global, general market. As we started deploying ourselves into the network, because budgets, and we all know this, budgets still continue to be larger in the US than in Latin America. It has gotten better in Latin America. I will say that it has gotten better. But budgets were larger in the United States. And we ended up transforming over the years. It took about a 3-year transformation that after we looked at our portfolio 3 years later, we had perfectly, qua- um, oh, I lost the word in English. Like, habíamos
Say it in
como
Spanish.
cuadrangulado, and going from 60%
Okay.
Latam portfolio and 40% other, we became 25% Latam, 25% general market, 25% Hispanic, and 25% global. And in that mix of portfolio, we had been able to double the size of the office in revenue and headcount. All of this through the pandemic.
Is Mel going to mainly work out of the Miami office, or
The three.
just
So
Dallas, New York,
Mel,
and Miami, the three?
Messianu, Edelman, Lerma.
Okay.
So Lerma, we have an incredible team that we're partnering with at Lerma for some of these initial RFPs. They are based in Dallas. Luis Miguel and I are here in Miami, and then some of our colleagues that are at Edelman and possibly transferring over to Mel are in New York and in other parts of the United States. But the main hubs will be Dallas, New York, Miami, and that's because of the presence of Edelman and the presence of Lerma.
Okay. Carla, a couple of questions about your background. What inspired you to pursue a career in public relations and marketing?
I
And
love that.
and your
I
background. I know you're Puerto Rican.
Yes, no, I was going to mention that I was so excited when you said that you also service your content to Puerto Rico. So, hola a todos mis amigos puertorriqueños. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. My parents always knew I was going to work in media. I think I've always been very like communicative and personable and egregious. So they thought I was going to be a journalist. That was not the path that I took. I went to school and studied marketing, studied economics, and then I've met people that did this work. I truly did not know what public relations was in school. Um, yes,
Before you got your master's at NYU, you worked for a
correct,
while in
correct.
PR, and then you got to know
I
it in a way that you didn't learn in school.
So actually, what I did my undergrad at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, and when I graduated, I went to work at Procter and Gamble. So I spent 2 years at P&G. I worked in customer business development, and while doing that work, I was spending a little bit of time in Puerto Rico with the P&G team in Puerto Rico. And Graciela Eleta is one of my mentors. And then after P&G, I decided that doing customer business development was not where my passion was. So I actually left P&G, and that's when I moved to New York, and I went to NYU, and I got and then I pursued my master's in corporate communications and public relations. What led to that is that I had a little brief sort of a part-time job at a real estate company in Puerto Rico, where I met a public relations executive that was helping this real estate company. And once I met her, her name is Frances Rios. I met her and I was like, this is what I want to do. And that's how I decided to pursue PR. And then from there, I moved to New York, did my internships. I had several internships. I interned at Univision. I interned at a public affairs boutique agency. And then I ended up interning at Edelman. And that's where I met the incredible Audrey Poncio, whom you know very well.
In
And
Texas.
Audrey is now in Austin and launched her own agency, APC Collective. So hi to Audrey. And Audrey is the one that recruited me into Edelman, New York, for the first time. So the rest is
Cool.
history.
Imagine you work with Angela in Edelman, New York. Angela
No,
Sustaita.
I no
No,
no.
you didn't.
Apparently we totally crossed paths like just by a few months. But love Angela, super dear friend, and of course we're both down here in Miami, and we get to see each other all the time.
Carla, let me shift back for a second. When you were talking about transforming the ratios at Edelman Miami to 25%, et cetera, certain segments, right? Any strategies that you can share for other PR business owner, leaders that are
Yeah.
undergoing this stress of shifting, pivoting? Any suggestions, any strategies that you can share on that to better prepare for the
The
future?
strategy was the strategy was we have limited resources. We cannot do it all. We cannot be it for everyone. The strategy was, what is that we are going to be the best at? What are the capabilities that we have in here right now, not future thinking? Who is in the room in this office right now, and what do they know how to do? And that is going to be what we offer the market. And we are going to have to say no, because if it's something we do not know how to do, then we can't do it. Because we cannot, as we're trying to like grow this office, survive COVID, we cannot start teaching people how to do something they've never done. So we were lucky, because at sometimes I don't like to use the word luck for business and being successful. Of course, luck is one thing, and running a profitable business and running an incredible, highly productive team is a whole other thing. But when I showed up here, I realized we have incredibly depth expertise in health. And when I say health, we got lucky, because when COVID came, health companies were at their peak trying to figure out how to talk to their internal stakeholders, external stakeholders. So we were able to become really, really necessary to people at a time of need. So, and then we had an expertise in food and beverage, also another category that grew tremendously during the past few years. We had an expertise in entertainment, another category that grew tremendously during the past few years. And then we have an expertise in travel, and we're back. But obviously, we were able to rely on the other sectors where I would say, what are the things that my team can do with their eyes closed? And that's what we did. It was not really any deep science. It was just really saying survival mode, and it worked for us. It really did.
And now the paradigm shifted again because of MEL, right? Because now you've got access to all kinds of skill sets and talent because of the other agency. So I imagine you're not saying no too often.
And now this is why when you talk about how much pressure I feel, I mean, I feel pressure all the time. I'm just so excited because the possibilities are now incredible for us and my team, because we now can service automotive, service financial services, service alcohol, spirits, service QSR, service you know what Luis Miguel and Lerma brings, and the team that we're building, because there's already a few other hires in the works. We cannot announce them yet, so hold on for that, Bill. But we're truly building the dream team, and the expertise is across every category that you can imagine.
I was reading one of your professors from NYU, Tim McMahon. He wrote on LinkedIn that you were a great student there, and then he mentioned that you recently spoke to some of the students at, I guess, where he's at now, Creighton University. The students
Mhm,
later
mhm.
commented that you were inspirational, powerful, and extraordinary. Can you share a little bit of what did you tell these students, that inspired them so much?
Thank you. Hi, Tim. You know what? Everywhere I go, I have always been able to be myself and to build incredible relationships with my colleagues, my peers, my professors, etc. So I've been speaking at several class groups for different professors, both from NYU and from UMass Amherst, that we've stayed in touch. And here in Miami, I've also been speaking at the School of Communications for and I've been a guest speaker of theirs every semester for the past 3 years. So I love I love speaking to students. You know why? Because I am a bilingual Latina from San Juan, Puerto Rico, from a middle class, normal family, a mother that worked for the government, a dad that worked in corporate America, but worked every day so hard. And I went to school a lot, and I have a lot of degrees, but mostly I've just worked, and I've worked, and I don't work for glory, and I don't work for attention, and I don't work for the spotlight. I work with my head down, and I do the best that I can do every day, and I take care of my people. If anybody has ever worked with me or for me, knows I am one of the most people centric leaders there'll ever be. And I am honored every time that students feel that my story empowers them. I want people to feel that they can relate to me and relate to the truth of my journey. And so yes, I thank all the professors that have invited me to speak at their schools, and I will continue to give my time back in that way as much as I can.
Thank you, Carla. We're at the 32-minute mark. When I edit it, it'll be like 30. But one last question: any other trends that you're seeing in the Hispanic growth, the market? Any other strategies that you want to talk about that maybe I didn't ask as of yet? Suggestions for other PR professionals that look up to you, that want to be like you.
I think the trend that I'm seeing right now, which I'm so thankful to see, is the trend of everything we want to do and that clients asked us to do is to do work that has meaning and that has a purpose. So I think the latest trend in Hispanic work is to do purposeful work and do purposeful creative, purposeful ideas, purposeful activations. Make sure that the work is leaving positivity behind in whatever it is. And positivity can be defined in so many ways. And it is okay if positivity is putting a smile on a face, or it is okay if positivity is larger than that. And positivity is about changing policies and making the world more fair and more equitable. Whatever it is, the work that we should be doing moving forward, all of us as a collective, is work that is inspiring a better future for all Hispanics in the United States.
Okay. I almost forgot one last question. The total market strategy, that was a big deal, a big issue 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Do you see like a reverse total market strategy happening here where the Hispanic agencies are saying the budgets are over there, we can actually service mainstream, so where it's happening in reverse? Is that sort of a
Um,
trend that you're
I'm
seeing
so
too?
glad we are in 2023 and we can all now stand together and be able to agree that total market does not work and total market does not deliver. I am so glad that we survived that phase of multicultural marketing. Um, I don't like calling it a reverse trend because I don't like the word reverse. I don't like to move backwards. I don't think about moving backwards. It is the progressive trend of finally mainstream marketers realizing that the growth, the survival of their companies is with the Hispanic market. So we are saying that Hispanics are pop culture, Hispanics are trendsetters, Hispanics are culture setting the agenda of culture in this country. So, what's happening is once you get it right with the Hispanic and the multicultural community, then most likely you will get it right with mainstream because we are the agenda setters. Let's not call it total market ever again. It is just saying if we're not going to be able to segment our marketing strategies into every single diverse community that deserves an, a nuanced and a dedicated approach. We understand we have to be efficient with our marketing budgets. We understand that we're not going to be able to build campaigns for every single multicultural community. Those companies that can do it, bravo to them. But if not, and you have to bet on something, bet on the growth, bet on the power of the now and the future. So that is what I think in relation to this reverse total market.
Carla, thank you for your time. How can brands reach you? Clients that want to work with you or with Mel, what's the best way to
See?
reach you? And I'll flash it on the screen.
Thank you. So of course you can visit our website somosmel.com, and then you can email me directly. C Santiago, I said that in Spanish, I'll say it in English. C Santiago at somosmel.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Carla Michelle Santiago. And I hope to hear from you all very soon.